Welcome to Living the Dream Iowa Life. I'm your host, Hannah Nuss, and each weekday we'll share enthusiasm for what's possible and dive into the stories of Iowans living their dream lives right here in the heartland. Whether you're chasing a big goal or just looking for a little inspiration, we've got you covered. Let's change the world together. This is Living the Dream Iowa Life. Let's go. Heyo, welcome to Living the Dream Iowa Life podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Nuss, and it's so great to be here. I'm always so thankful for this work, for this medium, for all of you, for this life, for the moon, for the stars, for the sky, for the ground, for the earth. And no, not always. Okay. All right. It's been a minute since we've talked about the love of the stars and the sky and the magic that is this world. But I'm remembering. I'm getting back to those roots, re-experiencing all of those things. And hopefully you can feel that kind of coming back to life. Honestly, it was such a long journey to get to a place where I actually felt happy in life, that I think the moment that I started experiencing it every day, it was like, nope, this isn't how life, this is what we wanted, but this is not how. That was too easy. We just took our breath, we reclaimed our life. That seems too easy. No, it can't be that easy. We have to work hard. We have to do all these things. So I'm grateful to be back. I'm grateful to be back in this space where I am enjoying the sunshine and the outdoors and the smells and the sights and the ground and the magnificence that is this planet, but also the pure magic of the world, the universe, everything. It is the most amazing thing. I feel blessed every day to be able to look up and see stars and the moon. I know that's not everybody's reality wherever they live, but it is mine, and I feel very blessed to get to experience that pretty much every day. So back in this place today, we are going to go ahead and root in our question here. And this is kind of a complicated question, but right now I am reading Eastern Body, Western Mind, which, if we want to deep dive into the chakras and psychology and mix those worlds together, this would be the manual for that. That would be this book, and we could better understand how the human mind works. I think that this mixes mind and body really beautifully and just kind of creates this symphony of understanding. And for me, really important for me to deep dive and understand this on the deepest level that I'm at right now. So, I'm going to read a part of this book, and I'm not quite sure what the question here is, but we're going to find it as we read through this. All right, I'm going to read through about a paragraph, 2 paragraphs. Are you ready? I have known many highly intelligent and talented people, especially in the New Age and counterculture circles, who could not manifest prosperity. What I have also noticed in this group is an unrealistic attachment to freedom, an unwillingness to accept limitation long enough to manifest their basic needs. As a result, they do not have freedom at all, but enslavement to a first chakra level of consciousness. As a freedom-loving Sagittarian, I spent the decade of my 20s in this state. I was free from the restrictions of a boring job, but I was also too poor to do anything with my freedom. It was not until I accepted limits with grace that I manifested any prosperity for myself. When we cooperate with first chakra limitations, our energy builds up and naturally expands to other levels. When we rebel against these limitations, we are kept in survival mode and are unable to get our liberating current up off the ground. The essential paradox here is that we must accept limitation in order to transcend it. This theme applies to all the chakras. We must consolidate each level in order to move on. Whew. Okay. So I think the question is, where are we? Where are you in survival mode? And I think what a weighted question right now. As we move through different seasons, we move in and out of survival modes, right? I know for my friends that are getting their kids ready to go back to school, trying to get into a rhythm before that hits. I know all of us are trying to get into bedtimes and wake times and try the schedule out before we get there. And some of us succeed and some of us don't. But it can often feel like survival mode of, okay, I got everything ready. And you're trying to prepare for this new start and you can feel it in the air. Everybody's kind of ready to get back to a schedule, to get back to the norm, to get back into, right, the limitations. Because freedom, all out freedom, kind of feels overwhelming at times. And so we do feel ready. We feel like we have broke, we are good, we are ready to get back. And I will say most people aren't saying, I'm ready to go back to school because I love learning or I love teaching, even though most of those things are true. Most of them just love the limitation, right? It's hard to be fully free. It's hard to not have some schedule, something moving us forward in life. It is really hard to self-propel. And schedules and places of work and places we exist with other humans help us to move along in the limited practice of freedom. And so I think when she talks about accepting the limits, that really is the process of rooting. Right? When we accept the limitations of where we live, right? Maybe we're like, this is where I'm putting roots down. This is where I'm going to exist. And whatever limitations are here, I believe in my power enough to overcome them, or I believe in myself enough to know that I am capable of thriving here. And that I am meant to do that work, right? Or when we root into a practice, a daily routine, right? The reason that we crave that isn't necessarily because we're like, it'd be so nice. I'll know how my day runs, because that's what we want as humans. Consistency and propelling forward. And even if that force is a school or a job or whatever, and it limits our freedom, it's still a really beautiful way because it works. It's all the same. It's, and sometimes when people talk to me about entrepreneurship, and I will say I fell into the same call. I'm going to be so free. I can't wait to be free. I just want to be free. I just want to do my own thing. I just want to run. I just want to figure this out. And I think this is the gap. Okay? We want to experience that freedom. We crave that freedom. We start the side hustle because we want that freedom. And then if we can't get to a place of repetition, of limitation, then we can't really get to a place where this is prosperous for us, because we're not doing things consistently enough to ever kind of build something that works. And sometimes I think we're craving so much freedom that then we run off into an endless abyss of freedom and we never come back. And so that creates businesses that are hard to follow. That creates kind of overproduction of products, of ideas, we're just kind of obsessed with that kind of second chakra of creation, but we haven't really rooted in the limitation of the business. Yes, we'll be free to create, to imagine, to do new things. And if we haven't, right, that's great. We've gotten to the higher chakras. Whoa, go us. But if we don't also work that energy back down and have some existence of roots, so there has to be some kind of schedule, there has to be some kind of limitation, a boundary. And the boundary part, this really is the limitation, but the boundary part is most important. Hey, I love creating. I think it's the greatest thing ever. But when I get back into a routine, it can be hard to turn the words off. It can be hard to turn the thoughts off. It can be hard to kind of rein them back in and say, you can exist in these 2 hours today. Right? Because once I'm creating, it's just like boom, 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 ideas. Yes, words, let's go. I can do words anywhere. And I can't. If I do words all day, we're in trouble. I have so much more to give this world. And I have to create boundaries where that can and can't live. And the great thing is, when we do that, because people talk about, oh, writer's block, or I couldn't write, I didn't know what to write about. Like when we do that and we tell the muse, this higher power, this whatever, right? God coming through us and giving us these things to put out into the world, whatever that is, when we give it a place to show up, when we give it a boundary, we give it a limitation, it knows when to show up. There isn't writer's block. It knows. Because it knows every day at 7 a.m. we are writing. And we are writing about this thing. And then we're moving into this next thing. And I think that was one of the harder parts for me about writing, because I was so inconsistent in the movement. But I was so... I had withheld freedom for such a long time that freedom was sort of the medicine, the way to nurture myself back to health. And so, yep, if we were just going to write at 2 p.m. at the coffee shop on a Tuesday, then that's what we were going to do. And maybe we don't get back to writing until 4 weeks from now, or maybe we write really well for 3 weeks and then we don't feel very free. And I think part of what she's talking about in the book, part of the fight is you worked hard to get that freedom, right? Like I know for us, it's like, okay, we're going to have to learn to live off of this one salary. That's going to be a sacrifice. That's going to be work. That's going to be time. Like we're going to have to live this way for a while. What are we going to do? How are we going to do that? And that was sacrifice. That was hard work. That was a lot of communication between myself and my husband, and it took time, and it was not fun, and it was never fun to have to say no to people, to be like, hey, yeah, we're going through it. We're trying to fix our situation. We're maybe not going to be the most fun people that have ever existed, but eventually we'll get back there. Don't worry. We'll show up again, but we need to bow out for a little span of time to kind of course correct where we're going. And so after that, it did get better. It did get easier. We figured out how to live off of one salary, and then we even figured out how to live off of a half of that salary, like to really hone in and get specific. And it was just so tough that then I feel like when I left and we had kind of granted our life enough freedom to do that, I went running off of the deep end. I was like, I'm free. No one can hold me back. I'm a 7. I'm an Enneagram 7. I'm running. I'm free. I'm living my life finally. Ah, this feels good. Wow. I'm a writer. This is what writing's like. You just kind of spin through the day, write and live. Here we are. Okay. Yeah, this is groovy, man. Let's go. Let's go. Uh, and then I think eventually the freedom took over because I was really rooted in nothing. I was free flowing and flying everywhere. I didn't know where I wanted to be, and I didn't know if I wanted to be anywhere. All that specifically. I wanted this chance to free flow in life, and I am so grateful to have had that chance. And what I learned from that moment is not rooting leads to ruin, period. Like, I was anxiously spinning, spiteful, ripping things apart. Oh, it felt good. I had left corporate where I was angry and spinning and spiteful. And then I got into this new world and I'm like, this is just how we do things. Things are meant to be ripped apart. I'm just going to be the ripper aparter. That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to do that. This feels good. I'm going to call out the systems that exist that aren't helpful. And I'm just going to keep calling everybody out and be really angry. Keep clinging to that anger. That's what I'm going to do because that's what feels aligned with this freedom. I could just freely create fires. And then, unlike when I was working at a job, I can just run away. If it's not going great, or I set the wrong fire, or I set everything ablaze and there's nowhere to live here now, I can just go move somewhere else. It's so amazing to just be a nomadic entrepreneur of sorts. I'm never going to commit to anything. I'm just going to keep bopping up and down, following the fires that I set, running from them until one fits. But the problem is, nothing is going to fit. Because fires don't build. Anger doesn't build a solid foundation. Joy and generosity do. And so when we're building things out of anger, and that's essentially what I was trying to do. Oh, I'm going to disrupt this. And not that we can't build something that is disruptive, just like where is the heart of that work? Is the heart of that work rooted in anger, spite, competition? Right? And sometimes it is. And sometimes those things, they do great. They are superstars. But those people generally are not healthy and whole. And so while they may have created something wonderful, and while they may be the best person that's ever graced this thing, they themselves would probably tell you that this was not healthy motivation. And it's fun to see the different kinds of people move through this life. To see people who've taken time to get whole and healthy in the work that they do, and to see the beautiful things that they create. The world-changing ideas. And disruptive, but not because they were spitefully trying to disrupt, because they were lovingly creating solving problems that they knew existed because they had experienced them themselves. And so, I don't know, I'm kind of obsessed with this idea of, obviously we've been working through like, what does living and working the way that I am with these new boundaries, this secret garden era is what I'm calling it, because before we were in the yellow streamer era, which was like, I'm over here, come through here, and whoever comes through the streamers are too thick, I can't see who's coming, but whoever comes through that door, that's like, yay, I'll just show up and I'll be on whenever anyone comes through. There need be no structure. I am just here. And I do find it funny that the actual doors to my business are green is the outer, and then inner is yellow. And so maybe it is flipping those colors of truth. Like it has to be Secret Garden door, which then opens you to the power of me. But we have to have that boundary first. And the boundary is the secret garden. And the boundary is accepting the limitation. The fact that it does have to be scheduled and it does have to be very specific. And I think when we look at local, it was really hard at first because it was just like, I just want to love everybody. Everybody's so awesome and they all have such amazing ideas and I love that and I want to love everybody and I just want everybody to do this because I think it's going to be so magical and perfect. And it isn't. It isn't the right fit for some people. It isn't going to work out. And what I do find is when I'm not kind of honoring that truth, I'm not setting that limitation or that expectation, when I'm not laying that out there, those people don't do well. And I know they're probably not going to, but I'm not putting in the structure to set them up for success. I'm not putting in the limitations because I want to be the yellow streamer door, right? But the limitation is the green door. There is a specific way that our shop works best. There are very specific things that we look for when we're looking for a brand that works. And not everybody fits that bill. We are not made for just anybody. And early on, I wanted to be, I want to fix this problem. This is how we fix this problem. Da, 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 da. Like, no. I do want to fix this problem. But I want to expand brands because I want to build main streets. So that means if you're just kind of dilly-dallying and you don't really want to take this thing serious because you don't eventually want this to be the thing that you do, then we aren't a great fit for you. We aren't. And I don't want to say that, right? I don't want to say that to someone. I don't. But in the green door theory, we must. This is who we are, and this is how we exist. And these are the expectations that we have of the brands that sell here. Because in order for us to stay prosperous, to be making revenue, we have to have brands that are serious about this. Not brands that are just kind of willy-nilly throwing stuff together. Like, there are expectations because we don't want our supporters, right? Our customers, we don't want them to have a less than par Etsy experience where they get something home and it falls apart. Like, we want to be known as these really strong brands in Iowa. We want to be, yes, handmade, but very specifically handmade and freaking awesome. Okay? Just like our authors for our publishing company. Like, I want to invest in people who want to do this as a career, who are doing it as a career in some form or fashion, right? So, like, they either want to be a writer full time and they're investing in their talent. They are actually going to be writing on a day-to-day basis. And if they can get through the kind of writing sprint that we have, then I'll start to believe that they're willing to work at this, that they're willing to be the brand, that this is something that they are going to invest in. And maybe not just this is something they're going to invest in, they're going to invest in themselves as someone who could actually do this. And I want to create those opportunities. And so it's really hard to not be the yellow streamer. Be this free flowing, come whenever you want. We're here for you. I want to help everyone. So my help is not for everyone. Like, I take this pretty pretty serious. And you may go, oh, it's just a little shop on a little main street. How cute, how quaint, how lovely. Like, yeah, it is. We turn around about, hopefully, if we're on track with where we need to be, we should be turning over 75. That'd be the goal, right? But like over the last 3 years, we have about 800 square foot of actual retail space. Usable retail space, I'd say, is probably about 600, maybe? Maybe it's about 8. Either way, it's a small space, and we turn over, on average, $60,000 worth of product, which my accountant says for the square footage, that's pretty impressive. But we want to turn that up, and we have very specific numbers that we want to get to. Why? Because we want to bless our community. We want to be able to give back to projects, to support our schools, to support different initiatives that are going on. So we have to have extra to do that. And we want to support our entrepreneurs very well. We want them to continue being able to invest in their own businesses. And we want to support our state and really build something that actually has the potential to turn these rural communities around that don't have support for that kind of development. That's what we want to do. And in order to do that, we have to make money, right? And so in order to make money, we have to have brands that are actually building and bringing in new product in a timely fashion, that are interested in building an actual brand that could potentially sell across state, that could potentially turn into a brick and mortar, that could potentially turn into something so much bigger. But we're going to give you a spot to start small, and we can help foster and encourage you. But this is why the limitation, right? Which is scary, because it's like, no, I just want to kind of stay here and let everybody kind of love me. And if I never root into something specific, then everybody will just love me, and it'll be so great. And I'll be the most wonderful, cheerful cheerleader that's ever existed. Everyone can just love me. I'll just be great. That's what everyone will tell me. I'll never plant into anything solid because I'll be so afraid of the limitation. And so it seems like, oh no, I'm going to plant into this thing and I'm going to be stuck forever. Yikes. I'm going to get this super strategic, specific system, and it's never going to be able to change. And I need to be mobile, and I crave this freedom, and I can't have this restriction. It's crazy. Please no. Please no with the restriction. Please don't. And here we are. We want to be loved well and right by the right people, the people who can handle our love. Because when I'm trying to build brands with people who are like, whoa, man, I'm really just trying to like do this very much on the side. I don't have anything to invest until this thing makes money. I don't want to do this hard charge full time. I really just want to get rich quick. And I can pretty much pick up on those now. Like I want to do this one thing, and this is why. We're not a great fit for brands like that. This is the slow, steady build. We want to educate and help, and we can't do that when all you're focused on is the amount of money that you're making, and you're not willing to kind of set structure, intention, and limitation into what you're doing in order to get to the next level. And we, Local, the gift shop that I own, we're a brand that helps brands get to the next level. So if that's not your intention, then we really aren't a great fit. And it has taken me a lot of time to get to that place. And I think, even in the work that I do here on the podcast and work that I do with people individually, I have found the ones who are willing to root and really lay down and say, this is what I am, this is who I am, this makes perfect sense, and I'm going to actually work at this, work to understand this, work to have conversations with you, work to kind of move forward in all of this. Those people are my kind of people, not the ones that are skirting and skating from the work, from the depth that is required. And I think that inevitably is the limitation, the ultimate bow down to the acceptance. I know that this puts me in a very specific spot. And I know that this means that everybody might not love me. But this is my truth. This is how we exist. This is who I need to be. Like it or not. This is the limitation. This is the boundary that I set. And so I want to deeply reflect on that question today with you. Head on over to our private group. You can find a link on my Facebook if you want to dive into this connection question. Not face to face, but in our community. Go ahead and head over there. Join us there to have a little deeper dive into all of this. Otherwise, just bring this question to meetings, to circles, to your dinner table, and see where everybody gets. As always, you're smart, you're strong, you're beautiful. What are you going to do? Change the world. Okay. We don't have a cursor. There it is.